What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing another one of these like deck profiles. Today is going to be on Lathril, Blade of the Elves. So this was my first commander that I built, and she's gone through two iterations of where like I've kind of like rebuilt her, and it's just because I feel like it's just I'm not doing enough when I'm playing the deck. Like one board wipe and I'm done for, but I guess that's all creature decks. And in this one, it's more of like I don't mind if my creatures get sacked because everyone's gonna lose out, and when my creatures get wiped out, everyone's gonna suffer and everyone's gonna take damage. So let's start off with Commander. Lathril 2/3. She makes elves and then she taps them to deal 10 damage to each opponent, and I gain 10 life. So let's start off with the Planeswalkers. We have Tyvar Kell. So his thing is elves you control have tap add black, so that's pretty good. His 0 is create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, and his +1 is put a 1/1 counter on up to one target elf, untap it, and it gains death touch until the end of the turn. I feel like it'd be pretty useful on a dork or something like that, someone that gives us mana. So far that's what I've seen that is good on it. And his -6 is you get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn, and you draw 2 cards, so that's pretty good. The next one is Soren Markov, 3 and 3 black. He is +2 is deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and I gain 2 life. Pretty good. And -3 is target opponent's life total becomes 10. So like you're nuking one player for 30 damage if you do get this out pretty early on, or at least like above 20. And then his ultimate is you control target player's next turn, so that's pretty good right there. This is kind of a nutty one because in my pod we don't really take care of planeswalkers. No one really has removal or attacks at it. So this is our creatures now. We have Yawgmoth, Thrawn, Precision, 2 and 2 black. He has protection from humans and pay 1, sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature, and draw a card. So that's just kind of like the reoccurring theme that we're going to see in this deck, where we just want to sack our creatures for value. So he has discard 2 black, discard a card, and proliferate. So it'd kind of be nutty to do that with that. Skemfar Avenger, 1 colorless, 1 black. Whenever a non-token elf or berserker you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So, Braids Arisen Nightmare, 2 black, 1 colorless. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. So this is like what like a lot of these creatures are gonna have value, so I'm gonna try to clear out either if I can sacrifice an artifact. It's primarily gonna be creatures, so I can keep the board kind of empty and have all the creatures on the field, primarily just myself. And since I'm just gonna be sacking tokens, it doesn't really matter. Then we have Pitiless Plunderer, 3 colorless, 1 black. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. So if I'm sacking my tokens and creatures, I'm going to want to be able to get value, so I'm going to get a value with treasure tokens. Seedborn Muse, just overall a good card to untap everything on everyone's end untap step. So like you're untapping everything. So like in this one it's good with Lathril if you have 10 elves, you just tap them, untap, tap, tap, tap. That's 30 damage to the board. There's other stuff I can tap for, but just an overall good green card. Elvish Warmaster, 1 colorless and 1 green. Whenever one or more other elves you enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. This ability only triggers once per each turn. And elves you control get +2/+2 and death touch until end of turn. So this is like what I'm saying. I'm generating elves or creatures to sack. Playcrafter, 2 colorless, 1 black. When he enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card. So just value, making them discard or sack something. Occam Adversary, 3 colorless, 1 green. This spell costs 2 less to cast if an opponent controls a green permanent. Death touch. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Eternal Witness, 1 colorless, 2 green. Enters the battlefield. You may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Sorry, let me just try to get the lighting a little bit better. I think this is good, right? Can you guys see this? Yeah, this is pretty good. Like that. So it just returns anything from the graveyard to my hand. Shaman of the Pack, 1 colorless, 1 black, 1 green. Enters the pack, target opponent loses life equal to the number of elves I controlled. Like, this is generating elves, and we have another elf generator, so it could be upwards of like 5 to 10 damage on average. Nadir's Nightblade, 2 colorless, 1 black. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. Each opponent loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. Yeah, so I'm generating tokens and sacking them, and they're going to be going in and out of the battlefield. Elvish Mystic, 1 green. Tap to add green. Dork. Oh, yeah, so this card, I have like 2 more of these. Mirkwood Bats, 3 colorless and 1 black. He's a creature bat flying, and whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Again, on that. This card I bought, it just hasn't shown up, so I wanted to get start playing the deck, and I needed to put it in right now, so I'm proxying it in, I guess, until it shows up, hopefully within a day or 2. We got Carrion Feeder, 1 black. He can't block, and he can sacrifice a creature, put a 1/1 counter on him. So another sack outlet. Blood Artist. 1 colorless, 1 black. Whenever a Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So this is more targeted for 1 person. Wood Elves, 2 colorless, 1 black. You search your library for a force card. It's just ramp. Gnarl Root Trapper, 1 black. Play 1 life, add green to your mana pool. Spend this money only to cast an elf creature. And then target attacking elf you control gains Death Touch until the end of the turn. So just kind of a dork. Elves of the Deep Shadow, 1 green. Add a black to your mana pool, deal 1 damage. Another dork. Lana War Tribe, 3 green. Add tap to add 3. Dork. And then we have Skemfar Shadow Sage. So he enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. That will probably always be elves, but like each opponent losing maybe like what, 5-10 damage, and then like you're just adding so much damage, just passive damage, I guess. Well-Wisher, an elf, you gain 1 life for each elf in play. Chatterfang, Squirrel General, so he has Forest Walk. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens are created. So basically you're just making more tokens. They're not elves, but you're creating more stuff to sack and get value from. Reclamation Sage, he enters the battlefield, may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Priest of Tatiana, add mana to your mana pool for each elf in play. Play this ability as a mana source. This is a pretty rough copy actually, but yeah, it's tapping for a lot of mana. I remember at one point, I think it was tapping for like 8 or 9. Birchlore Rangers, tap 2 untapped elves you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. I feel like this might be a cut soon. I don't see myself doing this too much, but you know, we'll see once I play test it more. Glissa Sunslayer, first strike and death touch. So whenever she deals combat damage to a player, choose 1, you draw a card, and I lose 1 life. I destroy target enchantment or remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. So the first 2 are pretty good for my pot, I guess. Drawing a card is pretty good, and then target enchantment. Draw power is just so good. Zulaport Cutthroat. So whenever another creature I control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. So good. Poison Tip Archer, Reach, and Death Touch. And whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So kind of nutty. Op Agent, just good for the searching. When your opponent is trying to do some shady stuff by searching their libraries, I can play those cards as long as they remain exiled. Then I search for them instead. Oh, they exile the card they find, and I may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. So you know. Sylvan Library, at the beginning of your draw step, you might draw 2 additional cards. If you do choose those cards in your hand drawn this turn, for each of those cards, pay 4 life or put the card on top of your library. Just good card. Give me more draws. Dictate of Erebos. Flash whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacks a creature. So hopefully people are more scared to board wipe me because they're going to have to sack a whole bunch of stuff on theirs. Canopy cover, an enchantment. Basically, the creature can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. And enchanted creatures can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. So, like hexproof. Black Market Connections, an enchantment at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. Choose one or more. Create a treasure token, you lose 1 life. Draw a card, you lose 2 life. And create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter token with changeling, I lose 3 life. So I think the first 2 are pretty good. Treasure token are pretty good. Defense of the Heart, an enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. An opponent controls 3 or more creatures. Sacrifice Defense of the Heart. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards. Put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Pretty good. Phyrexian Reclamation. One colorless and black. Pay 2 life. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. So if my commander gets sacked or something like that, I just get it back to the hand. Anything I want, just any creature, get it back. Alpha Authority. It's an enchantment. Enchanted creature has hexproof and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So there's that. Carpet of Flowers, 1 green, and it target. You may add X mana of any 1 color where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. So find the guy find the person in the pod with the most islands, and then you'll get like value from this. Grave Pact. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So just clearing the board at all times. Necroponents. I skip my draw phase. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step. Good value. Good fixing my hand. Fallen Ideal. Enchanted creature has flying and sacrifice a creature. This creature gains 2/1 until end of turn. When Fallen Ideal is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Fallen Ideal to its owner's hand. So, like I said, you sack. I'll put it on Lathril. Sack a token. Everyone's gonna be taking some damage because I'm gonna have some other stuff that's gonna or clearing a creature off their board. Whatever they're gonna have to do when I sack a creature, and then Lathril is gonna be a 4/4, and then it has flying, so that's pretty good. She's gonna give me 4 tokens. Kaya's Ghost Form. Enchanted creature or planeswalker you control. When enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So this is pretty good on anything. Put it on Lathril. She just comes right back. Cultist of the Absolute. Commander creatures you own get 3/3/3. You have flying, death touch, ward. Pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your archive, sacrifice a creature, which I am going to be able to do. Just sacrifice basically a token, and then she'll have 3 flying. She'll be 5/6 with flying and death touch and ward, but not the good ward. Ashnoon's Altar, 3 and 0. Sacrifice a creature at 2 colors mana to your ability. Again, just me sacking tokens is gonna generate me mana now. Two colorless mana though, but it is value. Lightning Greaves, we all know it. Equip it and it has haste and shroud. But I can't put any more auras after I put this one, so I kind of wish this would be like the last one I can put on her. Birthing Pod. Sacrifice a creature, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1. Plus the sacrifice creature mana value. Put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle. So that'd be kind of cool. My tokens are 0/1, so it'd be a 1-drop. I haven't seen too many 1-drops, but I think there's like the, what's it called? The dorks and stuff like that. Skull Clamp. Attach it to an elf. Equip creature gets +1 whenever equip creature dies to draw 2 cards. So I can just sack it and draw 2 cards and just recycle this. Soul Ring at 2. Tarion Soul Cleaver. The creature has vigilance, and whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on equipped creature. So she gets pretty big. Unfortunately, not from tokens, but from everyone else being, hit. Equip 2. Post Citadel. So you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. So pretty good. Sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. So basically, the tokens in this point, and I'm just going to be losing 10 life. It's kind of like a, like, oof, like if I rather just do the Lathril effect. I mean, you could do this and then do this. 10 elves, 10 damage from Lathril and 10 damage from post. You're doing 20 damage. So if you can get this off and this off, you effectively can kill the whole board if they're below 20 or at 20. So that'd be kind of tight. Elven Ambush, basically create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control, just generating more tokens. Village Rites, crap, what is Village Rites? I think it lets me draw 2 and sacrifice a creature or something like that, but the artwork, I can't really read it. Benefactor's Drought, untap all creatures until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card, and then I get to draw a card. Heroic Intervention, basically permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of the turn, my protection. Invigorate, if you control this rather than pay this spell's mana cost, you may have an opponent gain 3 life. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of the turn. I'll use it on Lathril, make freaking 6 elves, 6 tokens. Assassin's Trophy, destroy target permanent. May search their library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Just good removal. Crop Rotation, sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card. There's a specific land that I'm going to be searching for most of the time with this. Galadium Ambush, create 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. Vines of Vastwood, with a kicker cost, you may pay an additional force as you cast a spell. Target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. If Vines of Vastwood was kicked, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn, so she'd be 6/7. Dark Ritual, add 3 to your mana pool, pretty cool. Diabolic Intent, as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a card, put that card onto your hand, then shuffle. Easy to do. Pact of Servant, choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of creatures they control, the chosen type. Draw. Nature's Lore, search your library for a force card and put that onto the battlefield and shuffle. Living Death, this might be a cut. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. I don't know about this one. There's got to be something better. Sylvan Offering. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create an XX green tree folk creature token. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create X green elf warrior creature tokens. So basically you're kind of helping the other person, but I mean, if they're not using the tokens, they're just going to be using for like blockers and stuff like that. I can generate value for my tokens and Lathril, sacking them, you know. Torment of Hellfire, repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Pretty good. Culling Ritual, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. That hits you though. Undergrowth Stadium, enters the battlefield. So this is the part where I'm like, maybe there's a couple stuff I could swap out for better land. So, if, well, not too expensive land, but for better alternatives for what the strat of the deck is going for. So Undergrowth Stadium enters the battlefield tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. I like these type of lands because you're playing commander, so there's always going to be 2 or more opponents. Golgari Rot enters the battlefield tap. Then you return a land where you control to its owner's hand. And then tap, add 2. Shizo Death Storehouse, add a black to your mana pool. Target creature legendary gains fear until end of turn. Reliquary Tower, basically no maximum hand size. Rogue's Passage, tap, add a colorless. And then 4, target creature can't be blocked this turn. That's a lot of mana though, but it might show up. Exotic Orchard, add 1 money, any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Necroblossom Snarl, enters the battlefield may reveal a swamp or forest card. If you don't, it enters tapped. Wirewood Lodge, add 1 to your mana pool. Green and tap, untap target elf. You know, could have come in. Yavimon Creative Growth. Each land is a forest in addition to its other land types. Command Tower, we all know. Bajuka Bog, tapped. Enters the battlefield, exile cards from target player's graveyard. And tap, add black to your mana pool. Enters tapped and add 1 mana of any color in your commander's identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Verdant Catacombs, but actually a fetch land, pay 1 life. Search your library for a swamp or forest card, put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. Phyrexian Tower, tap, add, colorless, or tap, sacrifice a creature, add 2. This is what I'm always searching for. Myriad Landscape, enters tapped, add colorless, tap, pay 2, tap, sacrifice and search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share land type. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Castle Green, Garenbrig, comes in tap unless I control forest, tap, add forest, or tap green. 2 colorless, 2 green, add 6, and spend this mana only to cast creatures or activate abilities of creatures. So you're paying 4, but you're getting 6. So I mean, you're generating value, but you know. Land of War Waste, sorry, I still hasn't come in the mail. Tap, add a colorless, add a blue, black or green, and it deals 1 damage to you. Woodland Chasm enters the battlefield tap, but it taps for black or green. The Black Gate enters battlefield. I may pay 3 life. If I don't, it enters tapped. Tap to add black and 1 colorless, 1 black. Choose a player with the most life or tied for most life. Target creature can't be blocked by creature. Target creature can't be blocked by creatures that player controls this turn. I can see it being useful. Westville Abbey. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. 5, tap, pay 1 life, put a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token onto the battlefield. And then pay 5, tap, sacrifice 5 creatures, transform Westville Abbey, then untap it. So this last one, the tap 5, pay 5, no, sacrifice 5 and tap. Oh, dang, so you're paying 5 and then you're sacking 5 too. I guess that could be, that's a lot of commitment, but I guess this was like a last ditch effort in case I had nothing else and I really wanted to transform it. Sacrificing is what I want to do, so I would probably generate at least something out of it. Maybe they all have to sack a creature on their field or take 5 damage or something like that, and then you transform this into Ormindal, Profane Prince. He has flying, lifelink, indestructible, and haste, so 9 damage. And then whatever I did with the other one, this might be able to, like, at least deal, like, 15 if I'm lucky. But 9 for sure, so there's that. Tainted Wood, add 1 colorless, add 1 black or green. Place ability only if you control a swamp. And then we have our basic lands. Our basic lands. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck list. I found this on EDH Rec. If you guys want, I can link it. If you guys have any recommendations or cuts to help improve the creatures or land, please let me know. Please let me know down below, because I'm kind of gonna tweak this deck a little bit more. I really don't want to drop too much money, so if they could possibly be like wholesome budget options, that would be really, really good. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little deck profile, I guess, on a Lathril, but like on a non-traditional spin, where she's like, she wants her elves to be sacked and she wants the creatures to be sacked to generate value, versus generating lots of elves and you know, just tapping her and hoping you get something that you can keep on tapping her with. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this little profile. See you guys in the next one. Peace.